How did I get here? That's a question I've been asking myself for a long while now. The name is Son Goku, or at least, that's what they used to call me. What started out as a story to save my family and get revenge has turned into one where I hope to find repentance for all I've done. But I guess I'll let you all see for yourselves. Please forgive me. Dad, you're changing. I can feel it, Gohan. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. So our story begins in a familiar scene, but perhaps a completely different timeline in the Dragon Ball Super multiverse, as Goku would be seen levitating in the air, surrounded in a mysterious blue key, while Videl, Vegeta, Gohan, Goten and Trunks would all lend him the power of 5 righteous Saiyans. And before long, this lending of pure Saiyan energy would lead to an eruption of shining ki, divine in its appearance, covering the whole land in its blue hue. Guys, he's done it! Goku! Goku! And the first to react in awe, also covered in this all-encompassing blue light, would be Bulma, Piccolo, and Krillin until... out of the blue, a phoenix of red would rise, as Super Saiyan God Goku would for the first time in this timeline finally emerge in a flurry of red aura and energy bursting out in all directions. And for a moment, the newly crowned deity version of Goku would look at his own hand in awe, watching as red aura would emanate from it, turning his head and commenting, "So this is what Shenron was talking about. He was right. I'm a Super Saiyan God." And with that, Goku would eventually find himself levitating and trailing over to near Whis in Beerus. As Beerus, seen sipping on an ice-cold drink on a sun lounger, would peer curiously and ask, "Whis, is that really Son Goku? Something's changed about him. His hair color. It does remind me of..." "Yes, my lord. It seems this Saiyan has done something of sorts. His energy feels divine. Perhaps this really is who the Oracle Fish prophesied for you. Your ultimate challenge." I don't know about ultimate challenge. You were pretty unstoppable on King Kai's planet. As Goku, now interrupting, would smirk, his aura continuing to race as his confidence would inevitably build also, as he would add, "But having said that, I'm definitely ready to give it a shot, Beerus. I won't go easy." As a giggling Beerus would just finally get up from his lounger, hands on his hips and eyes closed, saying, "Well, you better know pretty soon, Saiyan. I've been waiting for this longer than you've been alive. Just know, the consequences if you fail to live up to this Super Saiyan God will be dire." We'll see about that! As immediately, not one to keep the destroyer waiting, the flaming Goku would rush straight in and with a straight face. "Just as mindless with your fighting as before. This won't end well." But not really having to move at all, Beerus would stop the high momentum punch with a simple grab in his wrist, as the shockwave would pass by the entire battlefield from its impact alone. But standing there still, with his palm wrapped around Goku's fist, smirking away, the destroyer would comment, "You're a little stronger, but this has barely closed the gap. Destruction like this is nothing for me to look twice at. I hope you know that, Saiyan." As when the scene would zoom out, there would indeed be destruction around the two, just perhaps not the kind Beerus was used to. As soon, both simultaneously would rise up into the air, now high in the sky, staring forward at each other, as Beerus, placing his hands behind his back, would whisper one final time, "Make this count, mortal. I came all the way here and disturbed my nap for you. You promised me a Super Saiyan God, and I will get one." As just like that, now Beerus would make his own move, still with his arms behind his back, but his body immediately closing the distance and moving in a blur of speed. His first attack being a roundhouse kick he launches towards Goku's skull, but this would be expertly blocked by the Saiyan. But unfortunately, Goku's response of a right jab forward would easily be dodged by Beerus. "I said give me a challenge, Saiyan! I'm trying!" As Beerus, after an enraged yelling from his frustration, would quickly respond with a seismic headbutt, sending Goku's body flying backwards with speed. But Beerus' speed would go even faster, blasting off in chase like he were catching prey. What? And in a flash, the destroyer feline would be right on top of Goku, with his hands locked together behind him until... Like a hammer, Beerus would slam both onto Goku's head on, sending the godly Saiyan straight to the green clutches of a nearby dense forest. Damn! Beerus seems even stronger than before. At least I'm surviving this time though. As Goku, cautiously laying in hiding, would struggle to believe just how strong Beerus would be even with his all-new powerful form. No! He's here already! As Goku would then be left like a deer caught in headlights, as he would watch on in the distance as a bright purple energy would roar towards him, the onslaught of Beerus simply not showing any sign of end. But it would seem the destroyer would be full of surprises, as though Goku would be waiting patiently for his fast approaching arrival. Beerus in the end would opt to vanish out of nowhere. His energy, it's gone! The god's energy, you can't detect it! As it would be at this point, Goku would first learn that divine ki cannot be measured and pinpointed the same way as mortals, leaving the Saiyan wide-eyed, trying his best to make use of his other senses. Damn it! You wouldn't be able to see me coming, even if I told you where I'd be, mortal! Get real and get better quickly! My patience is running thin. This planet will be finished if you fail! I won't let you! I won't let you! As Goku, now finally showing an element of rage, would start to realize this battle was no spar, and far more important than he could imagine, exploding his aura as he would shoot up into the sky, taking Beerus with him, though the destroyer would seem to be grinning even more as this would happen. Soon, the two would be in the depths of space above the atmosphere of Earth. Useless! But once they would reach high enough, it would appear Beerus had got the upper hand once again, seen roughly throwing Goku into the distance to slam into a nearby floating meteor. You have failed, Son Goku! You are not what I wanted! As Beerus callously and swiftly would continue to then smash his leg straight into Goku, obliterating the rock he landed on in the process. And down below, all the Z fighters could do was watch on patiently as a flurry of Goku's red aura would be sent from one side to the next like a ragdoll, progressively getting smaller and smaller and weaker in its luminance. It all culminating in an instant descent to the ground for a gigantic crash landing, far bigger than any Saiyan space pod ever did before. Beerus! So this is what King Kai warned me about. The power of the destroyers. It's incredible. I could still go on, but... Don't! As usual, you Saiyans only know how to talk. The same with that coward king, the same with his son, and the same with you. Whis, apart from the food, this was a waste of my time. No! But hearing this exchange between Goku and Beerus, Vegeta, almost as if knowing all too well the true nature of the destroyer, would be sweating bullets, a ghostly hue of fear as he would mumble, "No! Kakarot! You can't lose this! You don't understand! We'll all be done for!" You know what? I know when I'm beat. But in a shock turn of events, Goku would suddenly fall to the ground sitting and return to base, a smile on his face as he would remark, "This battle was great. I can't believe how much I still have to go. How incredible you are, Beerus." Before placing his hand behind his head, Goku would then continue with a giant warm smile. "I couldn't beat you this time, but I promise, give me some time, and I will next time. It's a deal." "There won't be a next time, Goku-san." But coldly, Whis would just intervene, continuing on with a dead look in his eyes. "Did you not hear what Lord Beerus said? If you failed to give him the challenge he desired and live up to the name of the Super Saiyan God, then this planet would be erased. This is no fairy tale." Huh? You're kidding, right? I did my best. I took your attacks. You can't be serious. But Goku, seemingly living in his ignorance and bliss, would be stunned when the atmosphere would change completely from the usual joy that follows his smile. as beerus, now powering up a small ball of her Kai on just the tip of his finger, would equally emotionlessly let out, "These Saiyans really are brain dead. Monkeys like Frieza used to tell me, why would a god of destruction ever not be serious? Did you think I would take back my word? Or perhaps destroy a tiny piece of this planet to appear like I kept to it? This is real life, mortal. And yours and everyone else's here has theirs end today. Now witness what separates the strongest destroyer of all 12 universes from lying, disappointing scum like you. This is the power of destruction. Hakai! As just like that, beerus would toss the small ball of destruction straight forward and seemingly right down towards all the Z fighters. But from its direction and speed, it would be totally unclear just who he had targeted, if anyone at all. Perhaps after all, just like in the original timeline, beerus was going to be kind-hearted. What is that? It's so pretty. But unexpectedly, Bulma would find herself coated in a purple shine, mesmerized until... in a scene nobody expected to see, the first target of the God of Destruction's wrath would be Bulma Briefs. Stuck right on her chest, the poor woman unable to do a thing. As near instantly, she would begin erasing from existence, and even in that most vulnerable position, her final words would be, Vegeta, I love you. Bulma! No! Bulma! As Piccolo and Goku would be the first to react, stunned to ever see her brutally taken. Never in their wildest dreams did they think she would be the first casualty. Bulma! But one more Saiyan, her husband and father of her child Vegeta, would be alone at the back staring, his face frozen, as he had just witnessed for the first time in his life the fatal harming of his own wife. Bulma! My Bulma! As with his body paralyzed from this intense emotion, grief and heartbreak, as if his own life was ending and flashing before his eyes, a replay of all his memories with Bulma from their first meeting on Namek, their time on Earth, the memories, the years, everything would play within Vegeta's mind. And with Vegeta's knowledge of beerus, he knew that this was no normal death. The love of his life had truly been taken away from him forever, leaving him only to mutter, I loved you too! Beerus! But this shock would finally begin to seep out into something far more visible, as his golden aura would begin slowly moving all over his body like smoke, almost like without his control. And from his eyes, tears would fall from his sheer pain too, whispering, You will pay! You will pay! As this This lack of control would come to a crescendo when Vegeta, Prince of all Saiyans, would snap like he had never snapped before. His whole body and face morphing from just how large his scream would be. His whole body would engulf in a Super Saiyan aura that could not be compared to any that had been seen in the past. The result being what looks like a nuke exploding on the ground, as an aura of limitless Saiyan energy would burst into the heavens, spewing wind, smoke and debris all over the ground and in Goku's face. As Goku, still hurt from the loss of Bulma as well, would stare in sympathy saying, "Vegeta, it's okay. It's But of course, stuck in his own world now, Vegeta's power-up would begin bearing fruit, as his hair would suddenly begin growing and growing rapidly, his loud scream seeming to be never-ending. Destroyer! And finally, in the end, Vegeta would indeed reveal an all-new level of power, a new form of his own. And at long last, he would ascend to a Super Saiyan 3 form, but slightly different to what Goku had. His hair noticeably shorter, his energy far greater. The Prince of Saiyans had unlocked some kind of perfected Super Saiyan 3. And as his body would become surrounded in a roaring yellow electricity, the only figure in his sight would be beerus. I'm going to kill you, you damn cat! As on primal instinct, Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta would launch forward finally at the killer of his spouse, blasting off in a destructive wave into the sky at Beerus, shaking the very earth as he would do so. The other Saiyan! What? As in an unbelievable scene, with sheer pride and Saiyan rage alone, Vegeta would surpass all of Goku's attempts and actually land a fist straight flush on Beerus's cheek. You're kidding me! How dare you, Vegeta! I should have killed you as a child myself! This strike genuinely surprising Beerus, but annoying him at the same time from the embarrassment. And it wouldn't be long before Vegeta would sense a reply. As Beerus, nanoseconds later, would appear right to the side of Vegeta, with his left arm pulled back to finish things. What? But Vegeta, unbelievably, would be full of surprises yet again, as vanishing faster than a literal destroyer, he would make Beerus miss. Was this brat actually the god I wanted to fight? Leaving Beerus actually beginning to second-guess himself. Wait, you're... Slowly, though, he would find himself turning around as behind him he would sense the unthinkable. As up in the sky, already set in motion, with his hands spread apart wide, Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta would be powering up the most powerful attack within his arsenal by far. Slamming his wrists together, yelling, "Final Flash!" as with a speed of energy blast that would take Beerus by surprise, true to the name of a flash, it would be right at Beerus's stunned face instantly, as the destroyer would just comment, "Grease? Maybe he was..." But such thoughts would come to an end when the explosion on contact would come, with Beerus at the center, hopefully stopped for the sake of everyone on Earth. Whoa! With even Goku standing up, just staring, wondering too if Vegeta really did it. In front of the prince though, this explosion would just leave a thick trail of dark smoke that would seem like a literal sea in front of him. For Bulma! As an exhausted Vegeta would just stare huffing and puffing away, clearly having gave everything in that one attack, as an air of confidence would be about him that he actually succeeded. But the confidence would begin to fade when slower than you could ever imagine, like a loading screen, a purple hand would reach through the smoke. There's no way! You shouldn't be here anymore! As a now trembling Vegeta would just look forward, as clearly it would be Beerus's hand, and morphed into a certain position, pulling a single finger back until... with a flick, the same one we may have seen in another timeline, Vegeta would be smacked as if he'd been shot in the forehead. Sent backwards with speed to ultimately crash land through the entirety of Orange City, until eventually meeting his halt somewhere near its outskirts. It's impossible! As flat on his bottom, the prince would try his best to struggle for more, but then finally just returned to base unconscious. His mind immediately sent to dreaming of Bulma, putting himself out of his misery. Vegeta! Goku, of course, exhausted and beaten himself, could only shout out the prince's name. But coming out of the smoke with his hands behind his back, unfortunately, Beerus wouldn't look like he had a single scratch on him. Well, another huge disappointment. Who could have guessed that? Whis, I think I've seen and heard enough. Time to destroy these filthy liars. As just like that, Beerus in the sky would lift his arm, and on top, a Hakai, the size to surpass even a spirit bomb would grow, every second getting larger, and every second becoming more and more overkill for the Z fighters, as if Beerus in this timeline had put in far more of his destruction energy than he would ever have needed. No! Why is he doing this? Why? Because I lost! I'll fight you again! And Goku, looking at this, would be left unable to do a thing, still wondering why any being would do this for such a nonsensical reason. Like this god just had no value for mortal life. But regardless, thinking still of Vegeta, Goku would vanish and appear right next to the prince, holding him saying, Vegeta, hang in there! but as he would waste his breath on the still unconscious Vegeta, arriving down like the end of the world would be Beerus's giant Hakai. Ah! Mr. Piccolo, what do we do?
Gohan, I don't know, but we need to fight!
As the rest of the Z-Fighters would now be in total panic mode, all of them knowing this could be their final moments. But true to their name and nature, the Warriors of Earth in Universe 7 would not go down without at least a fight, each of them powering up their auras to the limits. Before simultaneously, everyone would do their part and fly straight for the mysterious purple energy in the sky, thinking naively that they would be able to stop it.
My favorite part! When the cockroaches think they can defeat fire itself. What a terrible mistake!
But Beerus would know all too well what would really happen. Yet the God of Destruction would callously still push it further down regardless.
Come on! Push it back!
And Piccolo, leading the charge as not the strongest, but definitely the OG of the Z-Fighters, would command everyone to go towards its surface. But little would he know just what would happen.
Mr. Piccolo! This doesn't feel like normal energy! This is... No! Videl! Pan! Forgive me!
As Gohan, the smartest of the bunch, would then be the first to learn the true power of Hakai. As even as a Super Saiyan 2, the minute he would come close, he would not burn, but instantly be turned to dust. And the same fate would unfortunately await everyone else, as Tien Shinhan, Piccolo, Krillin, Yamcha, and even the young Goten and Trunks would immediately find their existences ended permanently.
You monster! Gohan! Goten!
An extreme trauma. Goku would be forced to see this all happen before his eyes, along with their final screams. All that coupled as ultimately Beerus' Hakai would continue to race straight towards him as well.
I can't let anyone else die too! Chi-Chi! Pan! I've got to stop this!
And emulating their courage of his sons, Goku would be up alone, as Vegeta would rest in a deep sleep behind. He would close his fists and tense every muscle he had and...
I won't let you do this!
And with a defiant yell, Goku would stretch out both hands before him and attempt to do what none of the others could. And unbelievably, of course, of all the fighters, Son Goku would be the one to make contact and not disappear instantly. The divine energy of his Super Saiyan God transformation somehow transferring to even his base form, allowing him to survive.
What is this?
But survive wouldn't really be enough. As though he would be erasing slowly, he would still be erasing, and completely struggling to move it back. he would visibly instead be pushed into the ground, his feet being the first sign, smashing straight through the floor. But Son Goku would never really be alone, as soon we'd see a small but mysterious small planet against a pink sky. Goku! And with it, King Kai would be seen yelling and speaking telepathically, as with knowledge of both the destroyers and Goku, he would let out, "Don't fight it, Goku! You can't win like that, but you need to use your spirit bomb training! Treat that energy like it's your own! Become one with it! It's your only hope!" Like a spirit bomb! And this final word from King Kai would be all that would run through the mind of Goku in his final moments. Make or break, we wouldn't know, but judging by how Goku's body would continue to break off into particles, things would not be looking good. And unfortunately, from the distance, we would see Beerus and Whis watching as the Hakai ball ultimately would then make contact with the ground, signaling Goku's unfortunate failure. Well, Whis, looks like these Saiyans are finally extinct. Guess this wasn't a complete waste of time then. Of course, Lord Beerus. At least we had the chance to try some Earth food before it was gone. I'll be sure to model my recipes after theirs. And with those truly dark and uncompassionate final lines said, the two gods would just vanish away as if it were nothing. And from space, what was once a perfectly peaceful planet that had lasted billions of years without issue, would suddenly, in an instant, break up into pure particulate, never to be seen again. And amongst the planetary dust, debris of meteors left now in its place, nothing would be seen, until we would zoom in and just about see what looks like the silhouette of a singular figure, or maybe two. As Vegeta, of all people, would be seen first, still alive, still unconscious, but still alive nonetheless, as it would seem he was being held onto by a certain other figure. Oh my! He did it! He really did it! As King Kai would now be gobsmacked by the appearance of who this other certain figure was. Why? As unbelievably defying all odds, Son Goku had survived. But what had emerged was no longer the kind-hearted Saiyan we once knew. After experiencing such cold-heartedness, such sorrow and violence firsthand, and after accepting the power of destruction just as his master King Kai had told him, Ultra Goku would be born. Now in an ultra ego state, holding on to Vegeta, the only person he could save, as with his teeth gritted, this Goku would let out, Beerus, Whis, I've never experienced evil like this. Not from Frieza, not from Cell, not even from Boo. I promise you all, my friends, these gods will die!
These are the best you could find? Really, King Kai? Who dresses like this?
So our story continues from the end of last chapter. A day later, Goku, having calmed slightly down after the severe betrayal of Beerus and Whis, and the murder of his family, including the entirety of Earth, would now have traveled to the only family he had left, in the form of his former master, King Kai, given a new set of clothes straight from his storage.
Excuse me, Goku, but I'm not a shop, you know. You should be lucky those even fit. They belong to an old student of mine. Guess he must have left them as a gift. Though I don't remember him being as tall as you. Ungrateful, isn't he, Kai?
As also revealed behind, now back to full health, would be Vegeta, saved by Goku at the last second, now for the first time on King Kai's planet, as he would continue.
I don't know what you're complaining about, clown, but I'd say that's an improvement if anything.
Whatever. I've got more important things to worry about. Right, King Kai?
Huh?
As Goku confidently would then strut towards a bemused King Kai and let out, "What I need to worry about is where Beerus and Whis are. I need to find them now, King Kai. From what you've told me, what they did to my friends, my family, to everyone on Earth. This, Kai, isn't something I can reverse. All I can do now is get revenge. I won't let them get away with this! Never!"
Revenge? Are you kidding me, Kakarot?
But hearing this, Vegeta would now surprisingly take his back off the tree trunk and question, confused,
"This is Beerus we're talking about, a god of destruction. Do you know what that means? We stood no chance before, and we stand no chance now. Give it up! We have to use our survival to find a way to bring everyone back, not die ourselves."
And King Kai, hearing this, would immediately agree, saying,
"Can't believe I'm saying this, but Vegeta's right, Goku. Beerus is a destroyer, one of the strongest. You couldn't even begin to understand just how strong he is, let alone his angel Whis. I'm a destroyer too now!"
As suddenly incensed by the downplay of his own powers, Goku would feel the need to prove himself, immediately transforming into his Ultra Ego form, surrounded in purple flame-filled aura of destruction itself. Goku wouldn't be entirely wrong about being a destroyer of some kind. As with a close-up on his face, Goku, with more seriousness than he'd ever shown before, would say, "I don't care what you think I can do, King Kai. You never thought I should fight Frieza either. But we all know how that ended up, don't we?" As with that line said, there would be complete silence on the miniature planet, as if Goku had landed a mic drop. But internally, Vegeta, watching these strange mannerisms of Goku, would wonder,
"What's going on here? This isn't like the Kakarot I knew. Did something happen? This energy, it's just like Beerus's. Maybe It's affecting him!
But giving off a nervous cough to clear his throat, King Kai would then respond,
I know better than to doubt you anymore. You're right about that, Goku. And you do have the power of destruction yourself. Some of Beerus's. But Beerus isn't Frieza. And you still aren't ready, I'm afraid.
Then what do you want me to do? You want me to stand around and let him get away with everything he's done? Let him go and do this to others? But such responses from the Kai would just infuriate Goku, as he would snap into a yell, not understanding why he would be held back. But rather calmly, King Kai would say, Lord Beerus would be doing that anyway regardless. That is the job of a destroyer. But when I say you aren't ready, it just means you need to get prepared, to train. And I know exactly who could help you, if you insist on this suicide mission. And immediately, on hearing that King Kai knew of a being that could train them to reach the next level, perhaps even to the point of defeating Beerus, both Goku and Vegeta would have their faces light up with surprise. Wow, Son Goku! Now I really didn't expect you again. As just like that, to everyone's surprise, the scene would change to Goku and Vegeta standing before none other than the Grand Kai, the same being Goku first met when fighting Pikkon in the otherworldly tournament. Now years later, returning completely different. As the Grand Kai would wave down and say, Hey there! I'm digging the new clothes and hair. But what happened to your eyebrows, dude? I'm hoping you're not here for training, young man. Didn't I tell you in Pikkon you need to wait a few 100 years before you could learn my teachings? Think you've turned up a little early. This old weak man is the Grand Kai? But on first look, Vegeta would be totally unconvinced, thinking inside, I don't sense anything special about his energy. Just, what could this old man teach us? Seems like he's unwilling anyway. But Goku would push on. I know what you said, Grand Kai, but this is an emergency. Things have changed, and I need power fast. My planet, my friends, my family, they've all been taken away from me, and I need to find the person who did this to them and make them pay. Huh? Revenge? That's unlike you, Son Goku. But even the Grand Kai would sense a change in Goku's personality. This never being expected of the Goku we knew, but regardless, he would add, But by the look on your face, you must be serious. Something gnarly must have gone down for you to be talking like this. With that said, the Grand Kai would then abruptly jump off his red sports car themed seat, standing before the two Saiyans, as he would continue. Listen though, a Kai must stand by his word, especially a Grand Kai. As it stands, both you and Pikkon will need to wait, if you ever want to be trained by me. The kind of power I give with my teachings can only be taught with age, unfortunately.
But I do have something else for you in the meantime.
As turning his back to the two, he would continue,
Follow me, you two. Speaking of age and time, I have just what you need to 10x your power levels. Though, dudes, this is not going to be easy. Behold!
As not long later, the Grand Kai would lead the two to a strange area, where before them, a giant pyramid on its own would exist, unfamiliar to the two Saiyans, but perhaps maybe familiar to us. As the Grand Kai would then say,
Looky here, this thing is what I call the Grand Pyramid of Power. One day on your planet should equal about 10 years in here. You'll be able to get plenty stronger just by yourselves even without me, the both of you. Just remember to not stay too long. There's a few poor souls who never did end up making it out of there. So come out before you grow too old to even move your bodies.
But soon, ruffling in his pocket, the Kai would add,
And oh yeah, before I forget, dudes, I have a feeling this person you're trying to get revenge on is going to take more than just training. You guys will need all the power you can muster up together. Yeah!
As right in the Grand Kai's hands, surprisingly, would be a pair of Patara earrings, but not just any, a pair of black ones. Which he would then explain
You've probably seen these before. I heard you two had to use them to fight some margin monster. But these are another class. They call them the Angel Grade Patara. With these, you won't ever defuse until you feel like it. No time limits at all. So take them off when you've finished the job.
Amazing! You're the best, Grand Kai. I won't ever forget this. Goku, finally smiling a little, would then take hold of the Kai's offer, obtaining the Black Patara immediately. And before long, with no time to waste, Goku and Vegeta would move towards the pyramid, not knowing what would come once they entered, and whether they would both leave the same people, let alone whether they would leave at all. Soon reaching the giant doors, as Vegeta would just remark,
Alright, so I guess the training begins. This is going to feel weird going in with you, Kakarot, instead of Trunks.
And like that, the doors would creep open, revealing a bright white expanse. And without fear, the two strongest Saiyans of planet Earth would indeed step in step by step together. Haha! Look at this, Vegeta! It's just like the hyperbolic time chamber. The gravity's even stronger too. This is perfect, huh?
Stop your blabbering, clown, and get ready to fight! Every second counts if you're really wanting to get stronger. Plus, I'm not fusing until I have that same form as you!
As now having entered, Goku would be all smiles, in the process of slowly removing his jacket, while Vegeta behind would coarsely throw to the ground his Saiyan armor. As following the prince's words, almost in a throwback to the Buu saga, Goku and Vegeta would then transform into Super Saiyan 2, their hair golden and blue lightning sparking everywhere, as Goku would whisper, "This brings back memories, huh? I wonder, if I should hold back this time as well, Vegeta.
Do whatever you want, Kakarot. By the end of these 10 years, I'm the one who will remain standing. Just like last time.
And with the talk done, the beginning of one long training arc would start for the two Saiyans, both rushing in at each other like golden meteors ready to collide.
Kakarot!
Fights every day, the battle-loving Saiyans truly in heaven, exhausting themselves to the limit as they would leave each session left on the ground with drops of energy left. Their powers remarkably equal when in the same forms. But that would not be the only training the two would partake in. With time passing by, the days turning into weeks and the weeks turning into years, Goku and Vegeta would find themselves training with weighted garments, both now as Super Saiyan 3s of course, handstands, push-ups, plentiful food for re-energization, and of course, plenty of sleep to ensure their recovery and Zenkai boosts were optimal.
Vegeta! Kakarot!
And things would begin to bear fruit quickly from such a regime, as Vegeta would find himself unlocking the Super Saiyan God form also, all by himself without the need for 5 righteous Saiyans.
You're getting complacent, Kakarot! The gap between us has closed completely! How are you taking the energy of 5 Saiyans, including me, and still already caught up? You really are a low-class Saiyan!
Don't ask me! I don't even know how you got this form! That's not what Shenron said! And in between fights, the two would solo train as well, meditating Piccolo style, with all that time they had to themselves. Time to reflect on their loved ones they lost, and also the best way to honor them. But eventually time would pass to the point the elite Saiyan Prince would unlock yet another form to match Goku, his eternal rival.
How's this, Kakarot? This form almost seems more like my style than yours.
As finally, Vegeta would unlock the Ultra Ego form as well, a grin on his face as he immediately senses his natural affinity. As expected of you, Vegeta, you really just can't help yourself from trying to one-up me, can you? I'm glad. Now we'll really be ready for Beerus. But a grin would come to Goku too, as he would suggest. But you're new to the power of destruction. Let's see how you really compare. You ready?
Is that even a question, clown?
I guess not! As once more, the now destruction-powered Saiyans would hurtle straight for each other. Instantly engaged in battle again, the two looking like they were really enjoying themselves. But more years would go by as time would tick by, and in a smouldering landscape of debris and smoke, Goku and Vegeta would remain finished with most of their training. And it would be at this point, Goku would address Vegeta with excitement. Well, what do you say? I think we've done more than enough training by ourselves now. We should start training as Vegito now to get used to him. He'll be our only shot at taking out beerus.
You're still going on about that?
But on hearing this, Vegeta, despite all these years, would still maintain his reluctance to fight beerus again, saying,
I told you, beerus is not to be taken lightly. We're stronger for sure, but do not underestimate him. You don't know him like I do, Kakarot. Our main priority should be bringing back everyone. Got it?
And for a moment, Goku would literally say nothing, neither agreeing nor disagreeing until... Yeah, let's fuse first and see from there. Before then handing over one of the angel-grade Potara.
I'm gonna hate this bit.
As both Saiyans would then place one earring on opposite ears. This is it. This is where we make everything right.
Yeah, by bringing our family back. Don't forget that, Kakarot.
And in their final moments, the two express, yet again, some sort of disagreement. But ultimately it would mean little when the Potara would activate, and Goku and Vegeta would find themselves flung straight onto each other by the front of their torsos, leading to a vibrant flash of light not seen for a very long time. The hue of light, a distinct purple.
It feels so good to be back.
As finally, just as the Grand Kai had suggested, Ultra Ego Vegito would be born finally in this universe. And with that smug smirk, we've come to recognize even he would know instantly the new level of power he was now at, saying,
like this, I'm going to make that cat pay dearly. Him and his angel. Just you wait, beerus.
And just like that, with those words said, Ultra Ego Vegito would power up, shoot into the sky of the endless expanse, and begin training like a madman, instinctively getting completely used to his body after all these years. Punches and kicks thrown at light speed incomparably to Goku and Vegeta.
I almost forgot about this trick.
As he would come to even use his infamous energy blade, known to some of us as the Godslayer blade. Training with extreme weight as he would do press-ups with single fingers, more kicks, more punches, and of course, a display of extreme energy blasts that almost destroy the pyramid itself. And like that, the remaining final years of the 10-year training arc would come to its end.
Yep, that'll do it.
The result being just like his counterparts earlier, a completely finished Vegito, flat on his back, completely exhausted, but his body ready to accomplish his mission. Or at least, the mission he thinks he's on, as he would let out with a grin.
It was long, but it was worth it. Chi-Chi, Bulma, I'm going to make sure they all pay for what they did, or I'll die trying, I promise. If I can't beat him with power like this, then this universe is broken. And I wouldn't want to be here anymore anyway. I better take a bath, have some food, and get ready for bed. Tomorrow, I'll be off for Beerus's head.
As Vegito would then begin getting up, his body aching, but moving fine until...
What's going on? My body, it froze!
But suddenly, before Vegito could make another move, he'd find his body completely unable to move, a feeling he'd never experienced before as a fusion.
We're not fighting Beerus! I told you that from the beginning, Kakarot!
But when we'd find ourselves within the mind of Vegito, an internal battle of wills would be on full show, and responsible for Vegito's lack of movement, as the prince would now stamp his foot down on their next goal after this, leaving Goku to just turn around in disbelief over what he was hearing. You're not being serious, are you, Vegeta? Where's your pride? How have I got more than you, and I'm supposed to be the softie? We've been training for 10 years. What for, if not for killing Beerus and Whis? What for, if we don't avenge our friends and family?
Pride. There's pride, and then there's being stupid. You'd think being 10 years older, you'd gain the maturity to learn that, Kakarot.
But an annoyed Vegeta would just respond,
We trained in here to survive, in case a situation like this arose again, that we'd put up a better fight next time. What we really need to do to avenge our family and friends isn't fight an unwinnable battle, but to bring them back. And I know a way how.
As mysteriously, Vegeta would then continue,
The reason I know this battle is unwinnable is because only I know what Beerus is truly capable of. You forget, as a child he would visit my father regularly to showcase his dominance. But it would be in these meetings I would hear of what they discussed. And I remember clearly him mentioning a set of Dragon Balls different to the ones we knew. Ones capable of granting any wish, even a wish to bring back those destroyed by Hakai.
Goku, hearing this, would actually bite and say, Okay, and where are these then? Do you know where? Must be a planet with Namekians. But Vegeta would respond,
No, I don't know where they are. These are said to be spread throughout the universe at least, not just one planet. We didn't gain only just power in here. Our speed is on another level as well. What would have taken us years before may only take us months now. We'll search the universe, and we'll bring Earth and everyone back. That is what we should do, Kakarot. You just have to believe me. We'd only be going to our deaths fighting Beerus now, or in 1,000,000 years.
So, you don't even know where these Dragon Balls are. And you don't even know if what you heard is true for sure. That's great, Vegeta. And while we go on this wild goose chase, that monster will just go on to destroy more planets and rip apart more families. All because you think he's too strong. Come to think of it, just like King Kai, you thought that about Frieza too. But at least you gave it a shot with him. Why not now?
Beerus is not Frieza! You need to stop making that comparison, clown. And if you don't remember, I did try, and I ended up dying. That's precisely why I'm saying we leave this silly tale of revenge behind. Until at least we bring back everyone first. Bring my Bulma back, my son, and I'll happily die after that. But until then, with me inside here, I won't be allowing this body to do anything without my consent.
And with that said, Goku would just stare forward, not saying a thing, almost like he was in deep thought, a rare sight for the Saiyan from Earth. Alright, you're the boss, Vegeta. Fine, we'll go find these special Dragon Balls of yours. I'm sure King Kai or someone can help us. But I'll hold you to fighting Beerus with me after. It's a deal. But tension would luckily be cut when Goku would out of nowhere return to his normal happy-go-lucky self.
I knew you'd come to your senses, Kakarot. It's a deal.
As clearly relieved, Vegeta would close his eyes and smile, promising,
when our families are back, I'll be first in line to give that cat a hiding, don't you worry. Now, let's get out of here. I need a break.
But Vegeta's calm demeanor would quickly come to an end when he'd be forced to open his eyes, his mind in complete disbelief as he would slowly look down and...
Kakarot!
As unbelievably, when Vegeta would look down, through his chest would be a singular bloody hand, and within it, the still pumping heart of the prince. It would seem, even within Vegeto's mind, the Saiyan was not safe, and especially not around the culprit who did this.
You... Kakarot! Why?
As in a shock twist, unlike for sure now the Goku we knew, the one to take Vegeta's life from behind would be the Saiyan from Earth, transformed into his ultra ego state, punishing the prince the second he would let his guard down, just like Vegeta did to Goku in the Buu saga. As Goku would then say, "For once, Vegeta, I think the name Kakarot may be right now. Why did I do this? That's clear. You don't align with my goal of revenge. There is a thing called Saiyan pride, and you've lost it while I have regained it. You know, when I came to Earth, I bumped my head. It's the reason I became the Goku you once knew. But in that fight with Beerus, that cat actually struck my head so hard, I think he brought the real me back. It's a shame you had to find out this way, but your power won't go wasted." Goodbye, Prince. As callously, without a hint of emotion, Goku, or should I say Kakarot, would then immediately remove his arm, heart still in hand. And just like that, no longer fighting on, Vegeta would fall, dead immediately as a trail of blood would leak out from his mouth. And Goku, just looking down, would comment, "All you had to do was do what was right. An eye for an eye. The old you would have understood. Too bad." And with this internal battle finished, back in the real world, Vegito would stand quietly.
What's going on?
until with a dazed voice, something would begin happening to the fused warrior, energy coming off of him, until his whole body would become energy itself, eventually creating a blinding light. And unbelievably, out of it, Goku would emerge, the two earrings still on, but the Saiyan having taken charge, his face staring forward, just letting out mysteriously, "It's just as I thought. This is perfect. Vegeta's power is still mine." And looking around, he would elaborate, "Killing him inside Vegito must have trapped him. He's alive in reality, but just not within this fusion anymore. Without his input or presence, Vegito's body became mine and took on my appearance. But I still have the full power of our fusion. And there's one more thing to test." As Goku would then reach for his left earring, and unthinkably, he would remove it. But with nothing happening, no diffusion taking place, Goku would let out, "I knew it. With him trapped like this, the fusion won't even end now. Seems I just found a way to fuse with infinite warriors and maintain control. Just as long as I kill them as soon as they are within my mind. Thanks for the data, Prince." Before, with this dark and sadistic future now expressed, Goku would then place the spare earring in his pocket for later use. Now, time to get out of here. I have a god to kill. And a man of his word, Goku would indeed then leave the pyramid abruptly and alone, coming out in base, almost unrecognizable to his previous look, as standing before him would be an old man, blasting out music from a jukebox. "Hey, Goku! You're back already? I must have got carried away with the tunes. You haven't aged a day! How do you Saiyans do it?" But though the Grand Kai would initially be revealed in his new clothes, quite joyful, soon he would realize something was off, as he would question, "Hey, hold on. Where's that shorter, angry-looking friend of yours? You forget about him?" But Goku would just respond, "No, I haven't forgotten. I never would. He's still inside there, Grand Kai. He just can't ever help himself from trying to one-up me. So he'll be out once he's stronger. But for now, I need to know how to get to this person I want to kill." The Grand Kai would then reply nervously, Okay. I guess this dude must be someone your instant transmission won't work with. So in that case, it depends who it is, Goku." And with that, Goku would just say, "God of Destruction, Beerus." I had a bad feeling it would be something like that. And immediately on hearing this, the Grand Kai would tremble, his jukebox stereo inadvertently thrown in the air. But holding out his hand, he would continue, "Well, lucky for you, Goku, I got what you need. You ever thought about how I had those angel-grade Potara? Well, the former angel who left them to me, he left me this too." As his hand would then flash and... Ha! See this?
There's only one other of these in the whole universe. It's an angel staff, and with this, you'll be able to go wherever you ask.
How surprisingly, the Grand Kai in all his high authority would have access to even one of these. And immediately, Goku would begin reaching out, grabbing onto it and saying, "Anywhere you say? So straight to Beerus then." As a cautious Grand Kai responds,
"Wherever you want, dude. But just remember, I need these things back, including the earrings, Goku."
With all smiles, Goku would lift up the staff saying, "Of course, Grand Kai. You know me. Now, staff, take me to Beerus!" And just like that, Goku would shoot off into the sky, like a pro, and like he was an angel himself in another life, or maybe another timeline. And it would be at this moment the scene would shift to the land of the destroyers, Beerus' home. And immediately we'd be thrown into action, as we'd stumble upon Beerus attacking rapidly at Whis, who would just sit there with his hands behind his back and clearly demonstrating Ultra Instinct as he would dodge everything with ease. "Oh Lord Beerus, you're going to have to do a lot more than this if you want to land on me. Remember, no pudding unless you hit me at least once."
Whis! I'll have my pudding no matter what you say!
As enraged by Whis' ease of escape, Beerus would now be in the middle of throwing up a powered-up punch with all his strength. But all his strength or not, his punch would be stopped right in its place when Son Goku would finally reunite with the destroyer Beerus and Angel Whis, perfectly in the middle of the two. As with a stare that could kill, grabbing tighter and tighter onto the god's fist, he would let out, "I've waited 10 years to see that face of yours again. 10 years to repay you for killing my wife and children. Enjoy your last moments, Beerus. Today, I become a god killer." Today is the day this universe's suffering ends. Today is the day you pay, Beerus! So our story continues with Goku after 10 years of training in the Pyramid of Power, returning to Beerus a new man literally, to finally give the God of Destruction Beerus the challenge he first seeked, and end his life in the process, along with his complicit angel, Whis. As Beerus, staring forward, would not quite believe his own eyes, commenting,
"Hold on a second here. This man is Son Goku. How could you still be alive? Whis, have I begun becoming senile, or did I not just destroy him along with his silly planet?"
To which Whis, also staring in disbelief, would respond, Yes, you did, Beerus-sama. This is no illusion either. His key signature is real. It appears Goku-san somehow survived a planetary Hakai that would make him the first of his kind to do so.
A mortal surviving a Hakai?
But this would actually be the most confusing part for beerus, who would immediately dismiss this, saying,
"That's simply not possible, Whis. I must have missed somehow. Did we even stay to check if we had erased that whole planet? No, we left. Maybe this coward teleported away."
Maybe I did. What does it really matter anymore? I'm here now, in front of you. And if you don't finish the job, I'm going to kill you, beerus!
You've gotten mouthy, punk.
But even on hearing this point-blank threat, beerus would give off a sinister enjoyment, like he was humoring him as he would continue.
"You sound and look a little different, Son Goku. But you really must have a poor memory. It was just a day ago, and you seem to have forgot just how powerless you really are."
As in a flash, beerus would turn the tables, using sleight of hand to suddenly now no longer be the one with his fist grabbed, but now grabbing onto Goku's hand instead. And with his laughter and grin becoming even more sinister, he would let out with his teeth bared,
"Sorry, kid, but getting this close to me was your first mistake. Just as foolish as those friends of yours flying straight into my Hakai."
As with the most nonchalant voice, knowing this would end the battle instantly here and now, the God of Destruction would call out his most famous line.
What?
But unfortunately, in the very next panel, nearly 20 seconds later, absolutely nothing would change about the situation. Goku would remain still within the middle of Whis and beerus, now both even more stunned than before. With the angel Whis now visibly sweating, commenting, "Beerus-sama, your Hakai didn't miss. This mortal can negate it. He knows the way of destruction, it seems."
This Saiyan?
Understandably confusing beerus, as he would try and find any reason to explain what was happening, muttering,
"He couldn't have, Whis. What are you saying? My Hakai just didn't activate. He casted some kind of spell. Tell me, Angel, what is he doing?"
"Look closer, you silly cat." But when Goku would break the silence, ordering beerus to peer more.
What is that?
What beerus would see next would shudder him to his absolute core.
Die, beerus!
As peering into Goku's cold soul, the destroyer would detect the darkness and true monster within, as a mental apparition of a dark beast coated in destruction energy would grin maniacally, staring back at the god, all while Goku would maintain a steadfast look, as if he had this monster within completely under his control. And almost immediately, like a spooked out cat actually, beerus would then jump back quickly into the distance, needing space now from this mysterious Saiyan, claiming to be the same mortal he obliterated just 24 hours before.
Something has gone on here. Something that definitely must be against the laws of the gods. And I'm going to figure it out before Zeno hears about it. Whis! Get ready to see me go all out on this brat.
As the still nervous Angel Whis would reply, "Something has certainly happened. He must have attained some kind of help to even arrive here, my lord. My only advice is to be careful. Strange works may be at play." But Goku's next words in front of Whis would leave the angel with a cold feeling down his spine, as he would say, "I guess you could say I came here with the help of an angel. Know this before you die. You gods aren't the only ones with friends in high places." And with that ominous piece of info left, Goku would just levitate over to Beerus. No fear and no rush, knowing he was completely ready for this final act of revenge.
Get any closer and you'll regret it, mortal!
But like a feral cat, Beerus would be far less relaxed, his back literally up as energy would begin to generate from his frustration alone. But regardless, Goku, now near enough face to face, would let out, "There's nothing I could regret about avenging my friends and family. Whether I die today or not, it means nothing, as long as my Saiyan pride remains intact. But funnily enough, I don't think I'll be the one dying here today."
Saiyan pride? Who do you think you are? Vegeta? God, I thought I got rid of that insolent talk with him. But seems you all talk alike. I'll just shut you up too!
As immediately finished with the uneasy atmosphere, the destroyer would resort to his default solution, flying in with his fists pulled back. I can see you so clearly now. As unbelievably still in base, Goku would effortlessly block Beerus' punch, and without a slight change in expression, the destroyer simply bamboozled the minute this would happen. And with his own right fist tensing and gripping hard, This is for Gohan! As finally landing a successful punch on Beerus, one far harder than Vegeta ever did, Beerus would be completely robbed.
What is this strength?
As on closer inspection, the cat god's entire face would be restructuring as it would concave from this shot, his expression hardly able to understand what he was feeling at this very moment in time. But with force like that, Beerus would not stay near Goku long enough to think much, being sent miles off into the distance instantly. That felt good. Vegeta, you made the wrong choice. And immediately, Goku, as if savoring and enjoying this, would give chase to the flailing in the sky god, reaching Beerus in a flash.
This is not the Saiyan I met! This is not who I remember!
And Beerus, still bruised and bleeding from that punch, would have the picture of true terror on his face. And for good reason, as with even more force, Goku would scream as he pummels yet another fist, this time straight into Beerus's gut. Flipping swiftly to bring down a venomous kick that strikes down on Beerus's skull, paying him back tenfold for his attack back on Earth. The resulting explosion straight into the ground being tenfold too, as Beerus's yells of anguish would echo through the air of his own planet for a change.
How dare you!
But Beerus would not stay down for long, especially not on his own turf, exploding out of the ground with fury, screaming to the sky like he were more wolf than cat.
You think you've had me? I'm just tired. I was just fighting Whis.
As literally salivating with anger, Beerus's body would be trembling from his rage, coming up with every excuse until...
What? How fast is he?
But the shocks would never fail to stop for Beerus, as just as he would get out of the rubble, his whole face would be lit up. As right in the sky, an army of energy blasts would already be coming in from all directions. The end result being a cataclysmic series of explosions that would go on for minutes, the raging blasts seemingly never ending. But when it would finally end, the black smoke that would rise would give way to show us Beerus had escaped no punishment and taken the full brunt, his body laying flat outstretched, smouldering still in flames.
That fish said the Super Saiyan God would be my equal. This is more than...
But before the Destroyer could even finish his analysis of Goku's power, he would find his ankle tightly gripped.
Goku!
And as his face would be stretched into a blur of high-velocity movement, his vocal cords stretching an octave higher. Goku would be there, still not having transformed at all, throwing Beerus like he were a mere baseball. Vigor behind every action he would do, as now the Destroyer would be sent rapidly soaring like a Saiyan space pod straight through the plains of this purple planet. The scene changing to a nearby sea, as Beerus would be in the sky, angled right towards it, ultimately crash landing for a seismic tsunami wave to be produced in the aftermath. Beerus-sama? And forced to remain uninvolved in the battle, Whis would just look on, as his student would face a worse beating than he'd ever seen, and from the most unlikely of opponents. And already, that said unlikely opponent Goku would teleport and arrive on top of Beerus's sea barrier. And looking down, darting his eyes from corner to corner to pinpoint Beerus's new location, this new Goku would let out, "I can't believe Vegeta threw his life away overestimating you this much. I knew from the minute he unlocked Ultra Ego, we were ready for Beerus. But for even my base form to be enough, Vegeta, you should have never been so cowardly. These gods are not infallible. They are..." But before Goku would put down Beerus anymore, he'd finally sensed some movement, as bustling out of the waves of the sea, a purple ball of energy would begin to peek out. And before long, exploding out of the water, leaving trails of fiery destruction energy, two balls of Hakai would shoot out and heat-seek straight for Goku. But despite each ball of Hakai coming in from either side, Goku would dodge both, and with the slightest of movements, leaving them trailing off to destroy somewhere unknown. A distraction, huh? Looks like you cats really do have 9 lives after all. As just like that, finally something else would emerge from the waters, but more like a straight bullet. I'm going to kill you! As of course it would be a furious Beerus, a literal wet cat with bloodshot eyes, moving with more speed and vigor than ever before. Well. Seems Beerus was hiding some more of his strength. Good. I don't want this to be so easy. But just remaining blank-faced up top, Goku would look down, not even trying to prepare himself, nor defend in any way.
Yeah! Know your place, Saiyan!
And unfortunately for Goku, it would seem a grave error, as with frightening speed, power and accuracy, Beerus would make the battle look like the one that had gone down on Earth, smacking Goku first on the cheek. Before slamming his leg straight into Goku's gut next. And ironically, he would finish with yet another double-handed slam right onto Goku's skull, just like last time. You really need to stop doing that! I don't know what other personalities you might bring out, Beerus! Don't worry. There won't be any more left after this. As when Goku would regain himself up above, Beerus would remain still, but with his finger pointed right at the Saiyan. As when we'd look closer, like he were Frieza, right at the tip of Beerus's finger would be a ball of purple energy. Hakai completely concentrated, as the destroyer would comment,
I don't know what brief power you had earlier, but looks like things have returned to normal, the way they should have always been. Die a painful death, Son Goku!
as suddenly moving his finger in a flurry of motion. Not one, but hundreds of these destruction-filled Hakai beams would fire in an instant, and with such speed, it would seem Goku had no time to even react. And in a horror for fans of our hero, he'd immediately be pierced by them all, slicing through his body at every angle and every location. But curiously, even after all the beams had finished passing through, a still smoking Goku would also still be standing. Leaving Beerus to comment,
I purposely miss your vital points to ensure maximum pain. But that shouldn't mean you should still be standing. You need some more mortal?
No, I think I've had my fill, actually. Thank you, Beerus. As suddenly, with a menacing stare and grin, Goku would lift his head, and despite bleeding out of his mouth, for some reason, the Saiyan would be grateful. A mystery until...
Thank you for the power boost, you fool!
As ultimately, Goku would then quickly reveal his random change in tide of the battle was all part of the plan, taking on severe damage just to power up his Ultra Ego form even more, as finally he would showcase to the gods the power of destruction a mortal could master all on his own.
What the hell is this? His hair is purple now? What happened to the red? When did... Wait!
But soon this initial small surprise would evolve into complete paralysis, when Beerus would begin detecting just what the energy coming off of Goku now was, muttering out,
This ki! It is not just divine! It is the same as mine!
As with a cold stare forward, Goku, now in his completed Hakaishin form, would just reply, the same. Don't kid yourself. As suddenly, with undetectable speed, Goku would vanish and appear right behind a speechless Beerus, still contemplating just how this Saiyan could possibly have attained this.
What?
But even when he would realize and swing his arm back, Beerus would just be slicing through air. Nothing behind him, as if it was a ghost he sensed and not a Saiyan.
Where did that coward go?
And we'd get a view from above of him drastically turning in all directions, trying to see where Goku would be. All while Whis would comment saying, there is no doubt about it. Goku-san has evolved in the span of just a day. My only question is, just what has he become though? Soon, I'll become a God Killer. As displaying his insane speed again, even Whis would be taken off guard, as a voice would answer the angel from behind, and lo and behold, it would be Goku, back to back with Whis. Goku-san! But even as he would turn, Whis too would be left with nothing to see.
Where is that brat?
But unfortunately for Beerus, as he'd still wonder on Goku's location, the Saiyan would now be back behind him, and with his arm already raised to...
What?
slamming it with a crossing chop right across Beerus's neck. And as Beerus's body would spin around, almost in slow motion, Goku would swing both his arms back like in a Naruto run and...
Wait!
Even without even touching the destroyer, Goku would force his palms forward in front of Beerus. And with just air pressure alone, the cat god would be sent hurtling back as if struck by a bus. Only to stop moments later, striking his head against something hard. How does it feel? I believe a foot on your head is just how you used to greet Vegeta's father. How the tables have turned, now it's a Saiyan doing it to you. As Goku, now with this truly unprecedented speed, would stand with his arms folded, simply barely trying, as he would use the literal deity as his footstool. And it would be from here a brutal revenge for all of planet Earth would begin. The first strike being a palm right onto the nose of Beerus, before vanishing and... comboed into a solar plexus strike with perfect precision. Then into a teleportation, back behind to land a kick right on Beerus's head once more. Then followed by yet another strike behind, in the form of an elbow right into the back of Beerus's vertebrae, leaving the god splattering out internal liquids, complete with a screeching scream you'd expect from a feline.
Die!
But now starting to yell himself, Goku, letting go of his anger, would slam into Beerus right onto the floor next with both arms. Before an ending strike on his chest to crush it from the outside. And even though Beerus would be practically dead on the ground, Goku literally would seem to not stop nor care, lifting his leg as if about to boot a football. Until... You know what? Kicking someone so defenseless would make me no better than you. Picking on the weak is what you do, not me. As with that said, Goku would walk up to the flattened warrior and immediately grab onto his tail. Next, then gently flying up, holding him by this extremity, as a seemingly unconscious Beerus would not make a sound. Wake up, kitty! It's meal time! As forcing some more noise and discomfort out of the god, Goku would then roughly throw Beerus into the sky, and with so much velocity, his tail would actually rip off by force. I lost my own tail long ago. Let's see how strong a god's tail is in comparison. As already up in the sky, right on top of the still barely present Beerus, Goku would be bringing Beerus's own tail behind and... In an unbelievably brutal scene, using the cat's tail like a damn whip. With extreme supersonic force, he would snap it through Beerus's body, instantly severing his left arm and both legs. So fast, the god could barely even react, as blood would spray everywhere from his wounds. Lord Beerus, it seems the end of your era is here. As Whis watching on would know from this sight alone, Beerus the Great Destroyer was now done for. And of course, once the shock and adrenaline would run out, the sheer pain would make itself apparent in Beerus's voice. But in a sadistic twist, even this wouldn't be allowed with Goku around, as using Beerus's own tail, he would wrap it around the god's mouth and gag him from expressing any more pain. And ultimately, now shooting down, holding Beerus as his bleeding, legless and armless hostage, Goku would drag down the god like a meteor and, with a gigantic explosion, throw the god down for the most vicious of impacts ever known or seen by man. And if Beerus's groans seemed like he was a dead god walking before, now that he was literally without legs and buried in a crater, his groans would be that of a creature soon to expire. Blood curdling in his throat as his mouth would still be gagged. But maybe for not too much longer, as Goku's feet would soon land beside him. And looking down, the dominant Saiyan would then say, "It's over. You're even more of a mess than I imagined even in my dreams of this day. You finally experienced the same terror and pain that you put my friends and family through. But there's one final bit of repentance for you. One way to redeem yourself. And it's to answer a certain question of mine." And to that, Beerus would quickly spit out his tail, grumbling with what energy he has left.
Repentance? Me? What a funny world for me to be in this position from the hands of you. But go on. What would that question be then?
And Goku would just let out, "I have heard rumors straight from your mouth that a certain special set of Dragon Balls are out there. The kind that could undo what you did. Bring back my people and home, even from a Hakai. Tell me where exactly I can find all 7 balls." But despite his extremely low energy, just hearing this would send Beerus into an uncontrollable giggle, as he would mumble,
"You know of those balls? Guess nothing should surprise me at this point. But firstly, there are 12 of those balls, not 7. And secondly, you're stupider than you look if you think I'd tell you that. I'm about to die here limbless. Why would I undo any of my life's work, let alone what I did to you? The person who did this to me, you can suffer, mortal. They are never coming back!
What? How dare you! I could have spared you! You really are pure evil! I won't forgive you! And this would prove the final straw for Goku. A hint of his previous naive self coming out that maybe Beerus would at least change before death. But now finding out his revenge was always meant to be finished. As lifting out his palm, almost immediately a massive ball of purple Hakai would form, aimed directly at the destroyer, whom he even got these powers from. Haka! Wait, Son Goku! But before Goku could pull the trigger, at the very last second, Whis would appear behind him, calling for a stop. As Whis would explain, kill him now like this, and you will surely be ambushed immediately by 11 other gods of destruction. Make no mistake, you will die at their hands, Goku-san. 11 others?
Whis!
This immediately puzzling Goku, who at this point was not even aware of the existence of others, let alone other universes. And Beerus on the ground would be confused as to what Whis was even trying to do here. Was he helping him, or Goku? But the angel would then go on. Killing a god as a mortal in cold murder is known as a cardinal sin. Something that will not go unpunished by a higher power than I or Beerus-sama. But there are ways to kill a god, and for it to be accepted without repercussion. One is to be a destroyer yourself, and willingly kill another in godly combat. The other is to kill a destroyer in an attempt to take over his spot. Death by challenger to the throne of godhood. That is the only option for you, Goku-san. You must announce that you will become the next god of destruction here and now if you wish to leave here unscathed.
Whis! Why are you telling him all this? I don't want him to survive! How could you? You have gone against your assigned god, and for that, you will be erased, you fool!
But despite Beerus' extremely angry reaction, Whis would maintain a completely carefree smile, as he would just say to that, Oh, Beerus-sama, unfortunately, I haven't gone against my god at all, as my god was never you. As in the shock reveal, behind Whis would be an image of the elder god Cronoa. It seems in all timelines, Whis has been playing a certain game.
What did he say?
Leaving Beerus understandably stunned. But looking down, Goku would still be in deep thought, contemplating, become a god of destruction? I've got no interest in that. But I've got no interest in any of those other 11 gods either. They never did anything to me, or are anything like Beerus from what I know. Plus, even as strong as I am, I still don't want to try my luck against 11 of them at the same damn time. And so with a close-up on his face, the Saiyan would reveal, I've made my decision. I challenge you, Beerus, to be the next god of destruction. Now die, old man. And just like that, with nothing holding him back, Goku would erase Beerus immediately, his body instantly flaking off to purple particles. Lady Konoha will be most pleased. Hopefully, this god killer will be the warrior she seeks. But most alarmingly, as the particles of this former god of destruction would come over his face, all we would see is a dark and hollow smile. Just what is this timeline's version of Whis planning for Goku now? Be gone, old god. Your reign of terror ends here, and I will never be the same. Goodbye, Beerus-sama. So our story continues with a sight of the official god killer Goku now, standing over the remaining particles of Beerus after having just Hakai'd him from existence, all while a truly confusingly smiling Whis would stand as if this was exactly what he was waiting for. As looking down at what's left of his former student, Whis would quite coldly and without emotion say, "It is done. Finally. The new god of destruction is you, Goku-san. Taken by battle to the death. An official usurpation of the throne. Nicely done." Spare me your compliments, Angel. But Goku, also looking down at what he did, would hardly feel a sense of accomplishment, as he would let out, "And so what if I am now? I may be the Destroyer by name, but you're a fool if you think I'll be one by action, let alone wear that disgraceful outfit. There will be no more heartless destruction of planets, but there will also be no bringing them back either. So what really has changed for me?" But the angel would undoubtedly see things differently, as still behind Goku, he would explain, "Well, not quite, Goku-san. Now that you are the god of destruction of this universe, and a worthy one at that, I might add, I am under your servitude as your loyal angel until your successor comes. At this moment, I have switched completely to you. Not from Beerus, of course, but from my previous god." And it would be at this point that Goku would remember exactly what had been revealed in the final moments of last chapter, as he would turn his head around and inquire, "The previous god. I caught that earlier. It seemed Beerus was unaware. Who is this other god? And why would you switch to me? How could I even trust your word?" For one, like I said, you are far more worthy of being a god than he who constantly sleeps for decades, if not hundreds of years. What else would an angel do with their time but find another god to follow? You, on the other hand, are young and active. You've shown your strength can grow immeasurably in only a day, making you the perfect student for me to teach my more advanced techniques. Techniques my father entrusted to me. And though I cannot name my previous god, rest assured, she would want my allegiance to you. But as for no bringing back destroyed planets, what else can happen is I can give you knowledge of where those 12 Dragon Balls you seek are. Whatever Beerus-sama knew, he learned from me first. And with that said, Whis would then outstretch his hand and continue. And you are next, Goku-sama. Come, let me teach you what lies beyond even the power of destruction. Techniques mastered by the angels. The power of autonomous movement. Just say when, and whatever your wish will be my command. And Goku, looking forward, almost a little disbelieving, would mutter, "Whatever I wish is your command, huh? I guess that could only be good. In that case..." As just like that, Goku would begin ruffling in his pockets, as Whis nonchalantly would continue, "Yes, anything, Goku-sama. An angel must follow the orders of his god, or we will in fact be erased." Yeah, that sounds good. Now put this earring on and fuse with me, slave. How does he have that? Wait, his right ear! How did I not see that? As immediately, Son Goku would seemingly take advantage of this information and moment straight away. As of all things, he would bring out the infamous Black Angel Grade Potara, ordering this angel who supposedly must do whatever his destroyer says to do the unthinkable. As a truly bemused, sweating Whis would just mumble out, You can't be serious, right, Goku-sama? What good would that do? You need me to guide you, to teach you, to tell you where those 12 Dragon Balls are. How about we leave this until we find those first? But regardless of this, Goku would just walk up to Whis anyway, quickly in fact, and dangle the earring right in his face, replying, "Now why would I need you to do all that, when I could just fuse with you here and now and learn everything you know? Mastered perfectly because you've mastered them. Makes sense, right? Now follow my orders. You wouldn't want to get erased after all." Oh no, seems I may have said a little too much. Lord Beerus would have never been this quick on the ball. I suppose Lady Cronoa did say I must abide by Goku-san no matter what he asks. As completely caught off guard, Whis would now buckle under pressure. Until finally, with a big sigh, he would give in and reply, "As you wish, Goku-sama. I cannot fault your logic, but you may want to be careful with what you wish for. An angel's knowledge may be far more than you can comprehend." I'll keep that in mind. As quickly, not wasting a moment, Goku would then hand over the earring. And Whis, of course being an angel, would be familiar with exactly what to do, placing the angel-grade Black Potara onto his left ear with precision, albeit still sweating. Now that's a good boy. Don't worry, you're going to enjoy being a part of me, Whis. Just be sure to watch your back once inside. As instantly, angel or not, just like any other mortal, Whis would be pulled in with speed, torso first, straight at Goku, who would be all smiles, teeth bared, knowing exactly what would happen internally the minute they would fuse. So this is how strong Whis was. As immediately, Goku would appear now with the same white hair he was first seen with in the Ultra Vegeta story, in Hera's team now finally explaining it. As surrounded in an MUI aura, he would immediately attain mastery of the angel techniques, but with Whis' knowledge, a lot more than just Ultra Instinct was about to hit him. But the bigger elephant in the room would be just why Goku looks only like Goku and not like Whis.
What is the meaning of this? Goku-sama!
As almost immediately, we would get our answer. As in a familiar scene with a plain white backdrop, Whis would bleed from the mouth profusely as just like with Vegeta, this time, the minute Whis would enter the fusion, within the mind, Goku would arrive to kill the angel there and then. His natural Ultra Instinct not able to detect a Goku with this level of power, as a grinning Goku would elaborate, "Sorry, Angel, but I'm afraid this is a little trick I learned with these earrings. I can only imagine you had no idea. In this realm within our mind, I can control almost everything, including your power level. And as long as I act fast and first, I'm able to kill you and gain all of your strength and abilities, taking over the fusion without any of your input. Now, lay to rest with the prince, dear Whis."
He figured this out on his own.
As Whis' last thoughts, as blood would spew from his chest, would only focus on what kind of genius this Goku must be to learn such an unknown and niche way to use the earrings to his advantage despite the millennia they had existed. Immediately falling to the ground dead, killed by his own god. The fallen angel, now on the ground, his face lifeless, as blood would leak out like a crimson river.
Wait! What is this? What am I saying?
But on taking over Whis completely, just as the angel had foreshadowed, there was more that Goku would gain from this than just power. A wave of knowledge that was about to overwhelm the primitive Saiyan.
What is all this? 12 universes? Cronoa? Elder Gods? Seraphim?
As just like that, Goku would for the first time learn of the 12 universes of the multiverse, each with a different god of destruction, them all adorned by a mysterious Dragon Ball, a grand priest with a strange set of Saiyan eyes he'd never seen before, known as the Seraphim, and at the pinnacle of all of this, a callous, grinning deity, the true former god of Whis, Elder Goddess Cronoa.
So this is what Whis meant.
He wasn't who I thought he was at all. As immediately, Goku would find himself overcome in a cold sweat, looking to the ground in disbelief, as unlike our Vegeta from the UV timeline, this Goku would understand every secret about Whis as he would let out. So Whis was the one who was behind all of this, the one who planned this with that elder god, Kranoa, the goddess of time. She's creating god killers like me to be on some kind of team. What a sick joke this is! Kranoa! As suddenly looking to the heavens, Goku, almost knowing he was being watched by a higher power, would proclaim, "The jig is up! I know what you and Whis were doing, and it's not going to work here. I'm not being part of any game, and certainly nothing to do with you. Move on, and go find another god killer. I know you're creating plenty others. Just try and make me join you, and you can bet I'll make sure you regret it." Oh my! Well, I didn't expect this. As completely right on his hunch, rejecting the Elder God outright and spoiling her plans, Elder God Kranoa would be seen in another realm reacting with a laugh. But as she would open her eyes and reveal blood-red sclera, almost like a demon, her smile would not fade as she would continue, "Well, there's plenty more where you came from. This version of Whis made a big mistake allowing your fusion. What a worthless pawn." As she would soon accept defeat and finish, "Fine, you're far from the most entertaining anyway, Son Goku. Let's get back to my real prize. What was this god killer called again? Ultra Vegito." And so, with this god killer Goku free from Kranoa's watch and Whis' devious double-triple agent plans, we would now rejoin Goku in base, standing alone on Beerus' planet. As he would then begin, "So now I know exactly where these Dragon Balls are, and why there are 12. 12, because there's 12 gods of destruction, one for each of them. What a way to find out there are other universes out there. I can only imagine how strong the warriors are over there too." As continuing, he would add, "It seems these planets they own, they themselves are the Dragon Balls. Under the crust, giant Super Dragon Balls exist. What a thing to hide from me, Beerus! You damn cat!" And looking down, Goku would now know what he had to do, saying, "And these gods are not just going to hand over their planets. Of course they wouldn't. It seems they're just as bad, if not worse than Beerus as well. Heartless creatures that would erase millions on a whim. So it's settled then, for my friends and family, to bring you back, Vegeta, as well, to stop more innocents being erased from existence. All gods will die!" As just like that, the true serial god killer Goku would be born, with an entirely different purpose than Ultra Vegito, one born not from revenge, but just for his family and justice. And so it would begin, the complete slaughtering of the remaining 11 gods of destruction, each of their Dragon Ball planets taken by force each time, the first being Jin, decapitated, then Kitella, sliced down the middle, then Mule, chopped down like a tree in half. Each kill getting more and more sadistic, as naturally, God Killer Goku would get a thirst for murder, with liquor horrifically turned into a makeshift scarf and hat from his fur, and Iwan having his literal face torn off from his skull, leaving a bloody skeleton on show. Elise falling next, erased on the spot, her children spared this time, while Arak would be left dead, his head skewered through a spike, as an unimpressed Goku would just sit in the background commenting, "What a disappointment. You guys should just give me the Dragon Balls at this point."
You! Beerus! Where are you? This being is from your universe! No! Wait!
As even Beerus's brother, Champa, would be left with a hole in his chest in disbelief at what Beerus could have let rise in his universe, where he was supposed to keep watch, while the clown god Belmod, slated to be one of the strongest, a former Pride Trooper, could do nothing but run in fear as blood would burst from a severed arm and leg. And finally, Sidra would fall too, to a gigantic Hakai, ripping apart half his body, while Rumshi would receive an energy bullet straight to the temple, dead on the spot, as a smiling Goku would twerp. I've never killed an elephant before. I hear they call this hunting back on Earth. But each of these killings would be far from mindless, as every time Goku would face a destroyer, just like with Beerus, he would announce that he was fighting to take the throne of the God of Destruction away from them, and as such would gain loyalty from each of their angels. And so, Goku, just like with Whis, would offer the Black Angel Great Potara to them one by one. And of course, though with some pushback, they would eventually succumb nervously and... just like that, God Killer Goku, ironically now the God of Destruction of all 12 universes, would then fuse with all 11 of the other remaining angels, taking their far superior powers as opposed to the gods themselves. Each flung straight at Goku by force, each would inevitably become one with the Saiyan.
My eyes!
But much like when he first fused with Whis, it would seem, on the very moment Goku would fuse with the final and 12th angel, he would be under strain, falling to the ground by his knees, immediately grabbing at his head. Just how many secrets were all these angels hiding? So this is the Grand Priest's secret technique. But soon transitioning to a laugh like a real sadist, Goku would begin to enjoy the pain, it would seem. Until... So this is the power of the Seraphim! as just like that, far earlier than he should have, Goku would unlock mastery of the Saiyan Seraphim Eyes, instantly boosted to a level that would completely demolish his next challenge. As of course, before Goku could even find time to figure out how to bring together all 12 planets, aka all 12 Dragon Balls, he would be confronted by all 5 members of the 5 strongest. The first being Guts, brutally finished. The second, Madara, having his Genjutsu utterly obliterated, not able to work on a mind like Goku's. The third, Yamoshi too, meeting his match in a Saiyan greater than him. And even the Blood Angel Makoto would be nothing when the Seraphim Saiyan would approach. But in all these battles, Goku would not be forgetting about the Black Potara earrings, getting stronger each time. Get in, kid. You wanted to fight. Now face the consequences. Until finally, even the first Light would lose to the power of God-Killer Goku. No extra training arc needed, just pure Seraphim mastery. As the Saiyan would hand over one more time the earring to the bemused child.
What's happening?
And yet again, taking power in his own way, the 5 strongest would also become one with Goku, all fusing with him, gaining an even greater power boost than you would expect from just a Buu absorption or other form of joining. The time has finally come. We'll finally all be back together. But with all distractions now done, Goku would be left standing alone in the middle of this last battlefield. A new man with countless warriors and angels within him now. And with no more left to do, he would shoot up into the sky, going further and further, knowing entirely what to do next. Until he would finally reach into space far above the planet's atmosphere. And once above, extending his arms out fully, Goku would visualize in his mind the location of every single planet of the destroyers, internally saying to himself, so, under all of these are Super Dragon Balls. To think the destroyers would hide even this from the mortals. One wish is all I need. I just need to bring them together. How oddly poetic. I'll need to destroy their own planets in order to do so. And so, just like that, as Goku had prophesized, with insane amalgamation of knowledge from all the angels and gods he'd fused with, each and every planet would begin crumbling apart like a Kinder Egg to reveal a shiny yellow prize. The prize being a gigantic Super Dragon Ball the size of a planet and numbered from 1 through 12. And before long, with Goku's mind alone, he would be able to bring them all together in the distance. Still hundreds of thousands of meters apart, however, until... now combine! Closing his fists and swinging his arms inwards, he would bring them into a more organized formation, more reminiscent of what he was used to on Earth. Perfect! It's amazing how things are going just as I imagined. And soon enough, all together, Goku would get close, and already they would begin glowing as if the Dragon Balls could sense they were near their brethren. And with them together, Goku would let out, "Alright, Shenron, Dragon, whoever you are, come forth!" But after some time would pass, nothing would actually happen. Nothing like what he'd experienced on Earth. Huh? What's going on? Don't tell me I need a Namekian to make this work! Not a Namekian, but you do need one Grand Priest. As suddenly, Goku's thoughts would be interrupted by a regal voice, as in the distance, two figures would majestically appear. Wow! As they would be revealed to be none other than the Omni King Zeno and Dai the Grand Priest, as Dai would then elaborate, "The only way to activate such a dragon is with the language of the elite gods, something you could never know. Not even Zeno-sama here has tried to learn it. Only I do. So I'm afraid, whatever this is, it ends here." Language of the what? If that's the case, then that just means you die too! This angry response immediately surprising the overconfident Grand Priest, who in this timeline had not been watching over what Goku had been doing, just questioning to himself, "This mortal, how did he access the 12 Dragon Balls? And why does he talk with such confidence?" But the Grand Priest would soon find out, when inevitably they would begin fighting, that this was no ordinary mortal. As when Goku would transform and they would begin clashing equally. How dare you! Dai would eventually transform himself, revealing his completed Seraphim. Getting the upper hand briefly, and with no Whis working from the demon realm, there would be no Lucif interfering here either. Beam clashes after beam clashes. Die! Goku! Screaming each other's names as they would rush in at each other. A flurry of their two-colored auras being seen painting the cosmos, all as Zeno would watch. But eventually, Goku would ascend, and exactly in the same way Vegeta did, finally unlocking the Green Seraphim. Ooh, green? I love it! Even impressing the childlike Zeno. Eventually landing a perfect strike in the gut of Dai. Now put this on, fool! Until ultimately overpowering the literal Grand Priest, and before finishing him, placing the Black Patara on his ear too. Ultimately completing his final fusion, and with the strongest of angels, their father himself. And with the battle finished, and no need to even attack Zeno, who mysteriously in this timeline would have no guards anyway, Goku would approach the 12 Super Dragon Balls and, armed with the knowledge of the gods, would let out in the language of the elite gods, "Come forth, dragon!" And just like that, the great dragon, created by Zalama, would arise, the size of a solar system, and staring straight at Goku, it would not say a word and wait to be commanded. I did it! I really did it! Vegeta, you were right after all, but I always knew we could have both revenge and bring everyone back. You'll have to forgive me. I'll see you soon. As smiling away, Goku would know his story had finally come to an end. All the struggle now worth it, as he would then yell out, "Grant me my wish! Bring back all the planets and mortals destroyed by the gods of destruction!" But unbelievably, the minute he would make this wish, there would be no eye glow, no confirmation of "your wish has been granted." None of that, just an explosion of the dragon itself. Its gold particles just floating past Goku's confused face as he would wonder if this was supposed to happen or... Wait, what's that? But when Goku would look up where the dragon used to be, a lone black silhouette would appear, and just his sight alone would set alarm bells ringing that perhaps things did not go as he wanted. Wow! Another god killer! And it's a Saiyan again? What is wrong with you people? I'm afraid the only way your family is coming back now is if you do a favor for me first. The least you can do, considering I made you. As unbelievably, in a shock final scene for the God Killer Goku, Elder God Hera would reveal himself. The creator of the multiverse that Ultra Vegito, God Killer Goku, and all the warriors of every other timeline would come from, leaving our hero Goku puzzled to say the least, staring back finally at a foe he simply could never beat, but only follow. But that was it for today's video, guys, and if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag Omni in the comments down below and let me know just who is this character on screen. Or just find out what happens right now on my Patreon, where you can see the full next video, fully voice acted, soundtracked and edited for you to enjoy with over 4,500 plus other fans, as well as getting access to 250 plus other fan mangas too. It's the deal of the century.